What is up, Mets fans? Welcome back to a big episode. The boys have swept the Washington Nationals, and we did it all without Francisco Lindor. We did it with friendship, hugs, happiness, and a little cute shortstop named Luisangel Acuna. So excited to talk about the huge sweep of the Washington Nationals on today's episode. You guys know the drill. As always, make sure you follow us on all our social media at Mets'd on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Subscribe to the Mets'd podcast YouTube channel if you want to see the video version of what you're listening to over here. And if you are listening, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, Overcast, wherever you get them, download, subscribe. You Apple listeners, we've heard there's no auto download anymore. You got to purposely select auto download on our podcast. So make sure you do that as well. We love you guys. James, how you feeling? How you feeling after another beatdown on Wednesday night?
So literally ridiculously good. It's stupid. The Mets just had the series against the Nationals and outscored them, 22-2? 2 runs in 3 games. Offense woke up. Pitching is completely fucking ridiculous right now. Shout out Jeremy Hefner. Shout out this staff. Shout out this bullpen. Shout out this team. To lose Francisco Lindor and lose those 2 games like they lost them against the Phillies, and then to bounce back, swing back, and completely eviscerate a Nationals team, a second division team, as Keith Hernandez aptly called them over and over again this week. It's beautiful. And there's been a lot of soft comparisons I think I've made and people have said on Twitter recently to the 2016 Mets season. And this really kind of truthfully starting to feel like that, where you're getting good pitching from God knows where. The hitters
Robert Gesellman and Seth Lugo.
All the hitters are starting to step up in amazing ways. It's friendship, it's laughs, it's vibes, it's fun. We're dancing. The stadium was empty, and then the stadium was full. A lot of stadium discourse. We have a purple seat that Marc hates in the Coca-Cola corner.
We will talk about that. We will talk about that fucking Grimace seat. Don't worry.
We're bringing it all in. We're previewing the episode because, guys, this is going to be a podcast of joy, of happiness, and of looking ahead in a really profound way because we have 4 huge games coming up this weekend against the Philadelphia Phillies. We all got to be at Citi Field for as many of them as we could possibly get to, but the vibes are unbelievably matched right now, and there's a special feeling every day watching this Mets team play baseball.
On the notes for today's episode, James went crazy on the notes, guys. He's ready to rock and roll. But the first thing he put is "we're so fucking lit," and I absolutely love it because the boys are. Also, just a little PSA: Thursday we are going to be at the Mets Phillies game. If you guys want to appear on an episode of the podcast, this will be the best chance you have ever. We're going to be doing an episode from the 7-line train. We're going to go all the way to the back on the Manhattan Express train to the back to Manhattan on the 7 line. The episode will run from the moment we get there and set everything up to the moment I get off at Queensboro Plaza. So if you want a chance to be in the episode, we're doing chaos stuff. We have to do 3 episodes a week now. We're going to try something fun here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully we see you out there.
Yeah, we want to get you guys involved because the voicemails have been so great. Every time we do a mailbag, great questions. We get such insane engagement in this stuff on Twitter and our own personal Twitters, our DMs, and Instagram on everything. So we want to get you guys on camera. We want to sit down on the train. This is an ode to Kareem, who does the subway takes on TikTok and Instagram. It's amazing content, and we want to do this specifically for the Mets. So we're going to have a couple mics. We're going to set up an iPhone, and we're going to have our friends with us. We're going to be recording. I think our dads are going to be there too, but not taking the train with us. We're going to be really ready to rip. If you guys want to come on the episode, last car on the 7 train right after the game Thursday night.
See you guys there. All right, let's talk about this series. I feel like let's start off with a little cutie that plays shortstop now in replacing Francisco Lindor while he's healing from a back injury. Luisangel Acuna's debut was fucking legendary. His second start was legendary. Everything about him is so zesty with Merrifield. James, you couldn't have hit the nail on the head better.
I think that I'm going to be bound to the hip with Luisangel Acuna for his entire career because I was in the ballpark in Philadelphia on Saturday. I saw his first surprise start. I saw his first ever hit. We were back there on Monday and Tuesday. We saw him come into the game on Monday and play shortstop in the late innings and make play after play, chance after chance at shortstop, sure-handed, sure throw, do great. We saw him in the ballpark on Tuesday, saw his first career home run, saw his first career RBI. We saw him bounce back after making the one slight blemish, slight defensive blunder at all he's made as a professional. And he has injected energy into this team that I literally can't even believe. Like I kind of said hyperbolically as a joke, like where were you when Luisangel Acuna saved the Mets season? Luisangel Acuna might partially have saved the Mets season. He single-handedly has pushed the Mets playoff percentage up, 15, 20 points in the last couple of days for him to come up after being horrible in AAA this season. When Francisco Lindor got injured in the middle of an MVP campaign, to get thrown into the fire in a playoff race. We're fighting tooth and nail. And then to go 7 for 15 while playing great defense with 2 home runs. What the fuck? This is one of the most remarkable starts to a career I can remember in baseball recently.
Well, dude, did you hear or did you see Tim Healy's tweet about Carlos Mendoza on Luisangel Acuna? He said, Mendoza said this about Acuna. You put him in front of the bright lights, and that's one thing he keeps telling me. Man, I see the ball so much better. There is a possibility that the lights in Syracuse are not good enough, and Luisangel Acuna has had difficulty hitting at night in Syracuse. If we can find those splits, what if he wasn't seeing the ball well? What if we're unlocking something because there's high-definition lights in New York City?
All right, we do have the LED lights. Shout out to Mets for that. I installed them this offseason. They're now the fact that we're like in a playoff race and we can flash those lights. Cool. It's an intimidating moment for the road team. But when I hear that quote from Carlos Mendoza, I'm much more reading between the lines and thinking about someone who.
No, I'm not even saying the in front of the bright lights though. Luisangel told him I'm physically seeing the ball better because of the lighting here.
I'm still reading between the lines on that and thinking this is a player whose brother is an all-world player who's been on the 40-man roster for a year, who's traded for one of the best pitchers any of us are ever going to see in our lives, who's playing in a league in AAA where the ball is ridiculous, the rules are weird, the players in the league are bizarre. He's only 22 years old. I see a guy who might have just been like, this kind of sucks. Like, I think I'm ready for the show. I'm doing everything I can. I'm playing good shortstop. I'm playing good second base. I'm playing good center field. And this is something that Francisco Lindor talked about when he was called up by the then Indians years ago. They're like, you weren't hitting well at AAA and you're in the major leagues. Now you're amazing. And what happened? He was like, honestly, guys, like, I was kind of bored down there. It kind of sucks. Like, I know I'm good enough for the majors. I'm making 50 grand or whatever you make when you're a AAA baseball player. And like, I need to just get to the major leagues and get the juice flowing. And talk about the juice flowing again, walking in here to not replace, but to fill in admirably for Francisco Lindor in a fucking playoff race against 2 division rivals. And to do this 7 for 15, 13 balls in play, hit 9 of them hard, 2 home runs, amazing defense at shortstop. Like, are you fucking kidding me for what this guy's done so far?
Yeah, he's been incredible. And the vibes with him have been through the roof. I think after he had his home run game, the Mets poured beer apparently on him. They put him in a cart and were dumping beer all over him after the game, which premature celebration, but I love the vibes. Everybody's having fun. Good vibes. That's a good celebration. Not like when they celebrate after they beat the Dodgers in 2022. This is a good one. Celebrating the kid's first big appearance, first big moment, first home run. And again, he's just a lot of fun to watch play, and he's a much better shortstop than I actually thought he was ever going to be defensively in the small sample size that we've seen. He seems very comfortable there.
He's very comfortable there. The hands are good. This is where he's played the most in his professional career, and this is where like he had the inflection point in his value as a prospect. Like, can he hang a shortstop? Can he play these multiple high-value defensive positions at a high level? And it feels like he really can. Like, some of the throws I feel like don't have the most zip. I don't think he has the best arm, but he looks very comfortable moving to the ball. Again, some of the instincts aren't great. He did make that one misplay to allow the one Nationals run to score on Tuesday. And then literally the next inning, this was the key moment in this series. It doesn't feel that way now because the Mets just scored 20 unanswered runs against the Washington Nationals, but after he didn't run that ball himself to second, and the run was scored anyway because there were 0 outs at the time, but because after Marc made that error, but the Mets were losing 1-0, and after a game, they barely won by the skin of their teeth because couldn't hit for 3 straight days again on Monday. He laced a double after Harrison Bader draws the leadoff walk and ties his game at 1-1 early. And then after that, the floodgates open, the Mets dominate. But that was a key moment from the 9-hitter against a starting pitcher that was not cruising, but like Mitchell Parker at the time was looking really good. And the Mets offense, again, had 3 straight games where they couldn't really do anything at the plate again. So they were kind of in this up and down malaise like we've seen them over the last month or so. He's the one who got the big hit that started this entire avalanche. And he's the one who just got the home run to then that like put the bookmark on this series. He has changed the complexion of this team in a miraculous way. And again, we don't know what's going to happen the rest of Luisangel Acuna's career.
No clue.
But the way it started and for exactly what we needed, and we said this a few episodes ago, like, oh, when McNeil went down, we were like, for the energy and for the vibes, like bring up the guy with some juice. And now they were kind of forced to bring up the guy with juice. And look at how much fucking juice he brought to this team in this 1 second.
He's playing with so much juice, you're going to start talking about him maybe on the postseason roster as well. Like, how do you keep that guy off?
There's a true conversation now where if Francisco Lindor, again, God willing, everyone sleep on the right side of the pillow tonight, that he'll be back in 3 to 5 days, like he said. There's a real conversation with how poor JD Martinez has played for Jose Iglesias to move to third base, Luisangel to play second, and Marc Vientos to DH, and JD Martinez to be a bat off the bench. Like, that's how hot Luisangel Acuna is. That's how much I don't think he can leave the lineup. And also the defensive field, because he looks great there too. The infield defense was so fucking good on Wednesday behind Jose Quintana.
Yeah, really crispy. I mean, everything that he's done looks good. The bat speed looks good. The exit velos look good. He runs the bases just as advertised. The dude flies around the bases. I can't find anything to dislike about this guy's game.
No, I have a lot of good stats here because I've been telling you guys for months to like keep realistic expectations on the guy with the same last name as one of the best baseball players currently in the league. And my Zesty Whit Merrifield comp feels so good to me right now in my heart. It seems incredible. Like a utility infielder with, again, zesty because he has a lot more pop and he's much, again, just simply more zesty. Like he's a lot more flair, but he's someone who can play a lot of positions well. And the power was the question. And he's hit these 2 home runs. The home run he hit on Tuesday was 0.1 miles an hour off the max exit velocity of his career, 109.5 miles an hour.
Which is cool because a lot of times you get those max exit velos on ground balls or balls hit a little bit lower to the ground. So for him to get almost his max exit velo in the air on a home run, really encouraging.
This is the key because he's a guy who we can see it now gets this backspin that we talk about when he drives the ball. And if you notice, all the balls that he's driven, the double and the 2 homers, were all low pitches that he was able to get the bat head out, basically club that, because that's the only way he can really get ahead of the ball. And you kind of saw also, there's going to be an adjustment from pitching now with Luisangel Acuna.
Sure.
When he got those pitches high, he struggled a little bit more. But something that's really, 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 really critical is the bat speed. As of right now, he hasn't taken that many swings compared to other guys, but bat speed is something that'll stabilize quickly because you take a lot of swings. He has 75th percentile bat speed in all of Major League Baseball, second fastest bat in the team behind Pete Alonso. It's the same range, including how hard he swings and the length of his swing, this per Statcast, as Wyatt Langford, Bryce Harper, and Luis Robert. Also in that range, Tyrone Blanco, Tyler Soderstrom, and Alex Jackson. So again, bat speed itself doesn't mean anything, but the fact that he's able to lift the ball better than I really thought he was going to do. There's a lot of ground balls in the minor leagues, but I told you guys there's a very high rate of hard hit balls. I've been saying that in our prospect reports for months now. While people were talking shit about his OPS, his home runs, his exit velocities, everything, the amount of balls he puts in play is really high. He makes a lot of contact, will not take a walk, still has yet to take a walk. We're going to see an adjustment the next couple of days of Phillies. He's not going to see a ball in the strike zone. It's going to be fun to see him adjust to that, but he has great bat to ball skills. He gets the bat head out as much as he can. And every time he makes contact, the ball's hit relatively hard. I said it before, I'll say it again. He's put 13 balls in play. 9 have been hit harder than 95 miles an hour. That's a high rate of balls being hit hard. When you keep hitting the ball that hard, you keep finding holes. And when you actually get the pitch to drive and you lift it, you're getting doubles and you're getting home runs. Like this is fucking awesome, what he's doing right now. There's no, it happened on Monday. There's no world where Eddie Alvarez ever gets to start over him again. He has to start against Taijuan Walker tomorrow. He has to. He simply has to. I don't care righty lefty. I don't give a fuck. If Luisangel Acuna, if Eddie Alvarez is getting at bats over Luisangel Acuna, there's an issue in the decision making.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a problem if that's happening because everything that Luisangel Acuna has done has been great. And you know what he also has for you cool TikTok kids out there? Kid's got aura. He's got aura.
He loves the spotlight. He's doing the post-game press conference. He said, my English is not very good, but let's go. Yeah, they said, which was like a great quote from him. And again, like there's a world where he's like forcing himself like into this lineup every single day, even with Lindor, just instead of JD Martinez, which imagine saying that shit in June or July.
Couldn't even imagine. Couldn't even imagine that.
JT's at-bats have been bad, and Marc Vientos is still, a work in progress at third base, but there's so many pieces. It was so nice these last couple of days too. As like you could take Jose Iglesias off the field, you could take Alvarez and put the backup in for him. Like you can give guys a breather who need the breather because we're winning by so fucking much.
Yeah. Now, before we do get going into more of the amazing, awesome stuff that has gone on in this series, do got to give a quick shout out to today's sponsor for the podcast, Huel. No time for breakfast, but you're starving, running late. We've all been there. Am I right, James?
No, you're so right. I'm late for everything.
But what if a delicious, nutritious meal could be ready in seconds? Support Mets'd and Foul Territory is brought to you by Huel, the world's #1 complete nutrition brand with over 400 million meals sold worldwide. Huel is trusted by millions of people to fuel their days with convenient, complete nutrition. Try it for yourself with our exclusive offer for you, 15% off with the code FOUL at Huel.com. We love saving time, and with no prep, no cooking, say goodbye to getting hangry and unsatisfying snacks. Just grab a Huel instead. I've really been loving the Black Edition ready-to-drink from Huel. Not only does it taste fantastic, but it also has a whopping 35 grams of protein plus 27 vitamins and minerals all in one bottle. Take a leap and join the community of Hueligans with this exclusive offer of 15% off with the code FOUL, F-O-U-L, at Huel.com. That's 15% off with the code FOUL at Huel.com. Unlock a healthier, easier way to eat with Huel. Nutritionally complete meals in minutes so you can focus on what really matters. Fuel your best with Huel today.
Beautiful.
I'm a king. I'm a pro. I'm a pro's pro.
You're the best there's ever been. But what a series. I'm so excited by this Mets team. And I think it's funny that the way this series started and ended, especially when you consider the bizarre discourse both heading into the series and after the first game, partially spurned by you, Mr. Old Angry Fuck, Marc Luino, and also spurned by Gary, Keith, Howie, Disha, myself. First on the fact that the Mets decided in the middle of the playoff race, it fucking worked again, to put a purple seat in the Coca-Cola corner. And then the fact that on Monday night, in the middle of a pennant race with a team needing a win to keep their chances moving, the stadium was 60% empty.
Now, it got more crowded on Tuesday night. We were there Monday and Tuesday. Definitely more crowded Tuesday. Definitely better vibes. Wasn't there Wednesday, but we had B's on the G's. Shout out to Jeff McHitz, a little insider for us. He told us packed house on Wednesday night. I don't think it was sold out, but I think it was just a full stadium. The vibes were really good. The place was electric. So that's important. And there's a lot of talk, too, about why Citi Field was just so empty in general. And I know this is something that me and you have discussed on the podcast before, and I know now Gary, Keith, and Ron, and Disha talking about it really started bringing a little bit more attention to it. One, Citi Field just never really has drawn particularly well. I think that's a pretty lame excuse in general. I think if you're a fan and you have the ability to get out there, you should. But we also know there are a lot of things holding people back from getting to Citi Field, like the fact that we mentioned on last episode, it's hard to get to. Parking is $40. The food inside the stadium is expensive. A school night. There was definitely some outside factors. Even Monday night football. Some people might pick football over going to the Mets game that day. We also had a pretty interesting take too. Gary, Keith, and Ron might be too good.
Yeah, I think the SNY broadcast is so good. I think a lot of people would like, and especially Gary, Keith, and Ron selves, and the production value of SNY. It's such a great watch. It is hard sometimes to give up watching those guys. We always talk about the fact that we like going to the games or the national broadcasts because we know we're not missing Gary, Keith. We're already missing Gary, Keith, and Ron, so we might as well show up to the ballpark. But I think all of those things play in. I think a huge thing again is just where Citi Field is. Getting to Citi Field, if you're not either in the couple of boroughs around it or Long Island, is hell. Westchester, Connecticut, New Jersey. My dad, bless his heart, gets from New Jersey to Citi Field 20 times a year. He left with us on Tuesday. His NJ Transit train got canceled leaving. He had to sit in Penn Station for an hour. But that's the kind of shit that happens when you try to go to the Mets game in a weeknight. And he was back on that train the next day, back in the office the next morning. But that's a hard thing to ask somebody. And also I think another part of it too, which is little pick me up for Mets fans. I think a lot of people were discouraged after those 2 Phillies games and no Francisco Lindor. But come on, guys, let's go. It's a playoff race. This is why we're here. And I was so interested by Brandon Nimmo's comments after the game on Wednesday, where he gave a plea. He was like, "Come on, guys, we feed off your energy. We need to fill this place up. Let's go Mets Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We need every single person we can in here," because they know it too. It's obvious. The Mets played a playoff game, an elimination game 2 years ago, and didn't sell out their own ballpark. But it is crazy, but it's true because that was a Sunday night in October, 8 o'clock game. The trains get less and less frequent back to New Jersey and Long Island the later you get in the night. Parking, again, is hellish because of that parking lot, and it's $40. It is a lot. Tuesday got more full because they did cheap hot dogs and beer. Wednesday was super full because they did a great giveaway. The Mets have tried so many creative things to really pack that ballpark, and they've even now put a winning team, and we still can't sell it out. But I think it just comes back to literally Robert Moses and where Citi Field is, which is a real shame because that's why the Dodgers even left New York back in the day. But it's just, that's it. That's why all of us that are in the boroughs, all of us that maybe don't have to be up early in the morning, you got to get Citi Field as much as you possibly can because it's a special time.
I heard a clip from the Michael K show too. I don't know if it was him or Don LaGreca talking about, because Howie was bringing up, he doesn't remember Shea ever being empty like this in September. A couple different things. One, there just weren't as many seasons where the Mets were really competing as well. When they were bad, they were bad. When they were good, they were good. That's just kind of how it's been for the Mets.
We got 3 winning seasons in 5 years here. This is not what the Mets normally do.
Not what we normally do. So this is a very new thing. Also, at the same time, the Mets were competing for a National League East you were competing for a pennant, essentially. It was a much bigger deal than competing for the last wild card spot, which me and you're listening to this podcast, you're a baseball fan. I think that's lame, but I do think that plays a part into it. The fact that you're fighting for a wild card spot is not the same as when you're fighting for a pennant or you're fighting for the National League East like we've been in years past.
Totally. I think it's also another cop-out shitty excuse, but it's just something that happened that changed the world. I think the pandemic pushed people to be much more comfortable in their homes more consistently.
Yeah.
Like more people are ordering in than going out to eat. Like less people are actually in their office working from New York City. So like if you're like, it's just everyone's got so much more comfortable in their homes. It's something I think that's naturally happened since then. So I think that just pushes again like more people in the house more consistently. Like we heard people say to us like over the course of this year, like this is their first Met game in like 2 years, or like and a lot of people don't live that close to the field. Again, like you and I are lucky to live a subway ride away. Like we can get to Citi Field. Like we always put the video on Instagram, but I take a 290 train to get to Citi Field. I bring my own dinner. Like usually we find a way to get a ticket. Like not all people are as lucky as we are. And also we'll just buy the cheapest ticket in the ballpark and walk down to the field level. You know what I mean? Some people are uncomfortable not sitting in their own seat. You and I are like, I'll buy a $3 ticket and just walk past security guard. I don't really care. It's like, but everyone has a different perspective when they go to baseball games. So it's just, this is a hard thing. And I'll never say like everybody has to be in Citi Field. But some people are so busy in their lives. Like I think that Gary, Keith, and Howie came off a hair tone deaf in some of the things they said. Slightly. a tiny bit, because I do think they remember those legendary times at Shea where it was just a bit of a different vibe. Like it was just simply different. And I think that Citi Field also, there's a lot going on in Citi Field. There's a lot of music, there's a lot of activity, there's a lot of different kinds of food. It's an experience. It really is. And sometimes it is easy to lose track of what's actually happening on the field. But right now, what's happening on the field is really fucking special. I gotta say it again. Like this is one of the best Met seasons I can remember recently at all in my life, especially this time of year.
What do you know? People were discouraged Monday, like you said, because Lindor losing 2 to the Phillies. They win that game, walk off win. Little more people. What happens on Tuesday when they win that game big time? More people on Wednesday. People. Thursday is going to be a madhouse. I'm fully committed that. Jets are playing though.
The Jets are playing. It's going to hurt that it exists. I know
that kills it. Damn
I know.
It.
I'm still going to be, but Friday, again, I can't go. I'm working Friday, and I'm at a wedding Saturday, and I'm working again Sunday. So sadly, Thursday is going to be my last game, my last regular season game of the season.
Mine as well.
But again, like I'm going to be foaming at the mouth. Like I'm going to be freaking out. Like we were chanting "Let's go Mets" and clapping in Mitchell Parker's mom's face in the first inning. Like we're ready to go. Like Pinman was in our section trying to get chance going. We're the only guys with him. Like it's going to a game is one thing, and bringing the heat is another thing. And I'm ready. I can't wait to bring the heat on Thursday.
No, I'm so excited for this upcoming series. It's not even necessarily that it's the Phillies. It's just that how big and important all these games mean.
Big, so
it's
important.
Just you got to beat who's in front of you, and the way that they're playing. They definitely can. Talking more about this team. How about Tyrone fucking Taylor? Carlos Mendoza pushes the button again. He says, Tyrone Taylor, you hit 5th now. How about that? You have a under 700 OPS. You're a 5-hitter. And what does Tyrone Taylor do? Double, home. Like he just continues.
3 straight days double.
Just continues to mash. Continues to be awesome. Made a great catch in the outfield today on Wednesday. Like he is the best 4th outfielder in baseball. You couldn't have said it better, James. He's awesome. What a good fucking ball player. We said it from day one. We're like, Tyrone Taylor is going to be a good ball player, someone that Mets fans learn to love because he's just a scrappy dude. He's going to go out there, make big plays, have big moments. The stat line's never going to look pretty. You're never going to be like, wow, this guy's underrated. But in terms of like a full season, you want Tyrone Taylor on your team.
It's the kind of guy that works his way onto a roster of a winning team. And he's been on a lot of winning teams, the Brewers, in the exact same role and done the exact same thing. You're getting 10 homers, you're getting 10 steals, you're getting good outfield in every position. You're getting some good at-bats. You're getting a little bit of pop. You're getting a guy who's fun to have around. He's always smiling, Tyrone Taylor. He always has a good vibe. He's always bouncing.
Tonight. He struck out on Wednesday after that huge inning. He was smiling after the strike. He's like, all right, great inning, guys. Like, who cares?
Yeah, and he was a big reason they started the inning. Like his double on Monday momentarily saved the season. Like if he doesn't lace that double late in that game, I think you and I were like really feeling that double because Tyrone Taylor walks out to Had a Good Day by Ice Cube. I was screaming it. I was belting it because I was just like, I need something. We need some vibe right now. It's a great song. I think you put out a good point that there's a world where Tyrone Taylor is one of probably, because he's not the best, but he's probably one of the 5 best players in baseball with an on-base percentage that's under 300.
I mean, it's even a joke with the team. Every time he walks, they go ballistic, and he like goes out first base, and, like pumps his fist, like I did it. Like he refuses to get on base. He has like a 250 batting average. Shout out all the batting average people out there. That's better than league average, by the way. But he has a below 300 on base percentage. Were you able to pull up a list of guys with under 300 on base percentage that are better in quotation marks than Tyrone Taylor right now?
Yeah. In terms of WRC plus, which is weighted runs created plus, it's Fangraph stat to kind of take all players, take all their at bats, see how many runs that they create, and it neutralizes for the ballparks they take their at bats in. He's one of 5 players in baseball to have a WRC plus at or over 100. 100 is exactly league average. That means he's a league average quality hitter with the under 300 on base percentage. And those players are Tyrone Taylor, Jake Berger, Giancarlo Stanton, and Shea Langoliers. Those are the only players with a below 300 batting average and 100 or better WRC plus. Yeah, on base percentage, WRC plus. And then in terms of just valuable players with an under 300 batting average, you got guys like
on base
percentage. God, I can't. It's all stuck in my head. You got guys like Pete Crow Armstrong and Anthony Volpe, like amazing defenders at premium positions, but go up and down with their hitting. Pete Crow is a lot better than Volpe at the plate, but like Volpe's still a really good defender at shortstop. You got Shea Langoliers, the catcher who has power. You have Giancarlo Stanton, who mashes the ball but doesn't really do anything else besides that. Patrick Bailey's a really good defender at catcher. Andres Jimenez is about 20% worse than league average as a hitter, but a really, really good second base defender. Remember when we lost that trade?
I do.
So, Tyrone Taylor is a special player filling a valuable role, and it's really, really, really great that he's on this team.
No, it's awesome. And the other thing that's happening right now too that I think is maybe going a little bit under the radar, and that's where I love for this to live. He texted me about it today during the game. The polar bear, Mr. Big Meat Pete. That swing might be back, brother. That swing might be back.
Hit that 113-mile-an-hour line drive,
and he pulled it.
He pulled it. He hit the home run on Tuesday, and he is very aware of the moment that's in front of him. I think he's been able to take a step back and be in the present and realize that this could be his last homestand with the only team he's ever known. I don't think it's set in for a lot of Mets fans because of how much other shit's going on with his team right now and how tight this race is. But
why'd you got to bring it up?
I'm just saying, like, he called the meeting before the game on either Monday or Tuesday, and he was talking to media about it. And they were like, "You called the meeting?" And this is exactly what Pete Alonso said. "I wanted to say something from the heart to the fellas."
He's so Pete.
It's just so him. And then he called that meeting. He got 5 RBIs on Tuesday. He laced that ball, and he had another hit on Wednesday. We've scored 20 unanswered runs to close this series out. Like, this is there's going to be a moment for Pete Alonso in this Philly series. I'm confident of it. And I'm also very confident he's going to come through in the clutch.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good ball player. We know he's a good ball player. It's a weird thing with how all his big hits have come in the moments where they've been low leverage or they don't matter or we're up by 10, down by 10. But he is a good ball player. We've seen him do big hits. We've seen him hit big home runs before. This is the series. He's going to step up.
We like to joke around and be kind of sarcastic and funny on the Mets'd Twitter account. And after hit the home run when the Mets were already up 4 or 5 on Tuesday, I said, "Name a player that's more clutch than Pete Alonso. I'll wait." And people were like, "Dude, what are you talking about? He's so not clutch." I think that Mets Twitter is so strong that it becomes a bit of a hive mind at times.
You think?
So then, so we did the Media Marvel a few weeks ago where we went through the comment section of the Mets being non-committal about bringing back Pete Alonso in January, and people saying that David Stearns is not the man for the job. And then we went back to after they said they were still working on a contract with Pete in July, and people saying they didn't even want him back. So just, again, it changes quickly. I think everyone objectively wants Pete Alonso back. Take a moment this weekend and just appreciate Pete Alonso. Take a moment in your home, take a moment in the ballpark, on the train, in the car, with your girlfriend, with your wife, with your husband, with your son, with your daughter, with your aunt, with your uncle, with your family. Just sit down, everyone just take a moment and appreciate Pete Alonso, because there's a chance this is the last few weeks of baseball we're going to see from the best power hitter in Mets history.
Yeah,
second best behind Mike Piazza.
He's swinging a lot better. Brandon Nimmo swinging a lot better too. That home run to end Game 3 was huge. I think it felt good for him as well. He's been swinging the bat a little bit better, pulling the ball a little bit more. It feels like
drew a nice walk too, and a pitch that almost hit him in the face.
Yeah, no, he's looking a lot better. This offense needs it too, because
I got something. I have a banger from Sarah Langs.
Hit me.
At S. Langs on Sports, the best in the business.
Queen.
Luisangel Acuna is the first player in Mets franchise history with multiple hits in each of his first 3 career starts.
Let's go, Luisangel.
Amazing. What were you saying? Sorry, I interrupted.
No, I was saying it's big to get those guys hitting because Vientos has been ice cold. It's been very, very cold. Now, he did get, I think, a hit or 2 tonight on Wednesday, which is good. Good for the psyche, good for the mental. Still not good in the field, but I think he'll turn around. JD Martinez is the one that scares me right now.
Yeah. Also, Starling Marte has been also really hot, and he looks like he's engaged. He looks like he's mentally ready. Garen Keith made some comments about it. Looks like a guy playing for his job all of a sudden. Yep. Maybe he is, but him elevating his game right now is so fucking critical, and it's awesome to see. Awesome.
It's huge.
For him to we didn't even mention it. Walk-off hit on Monday, like that was amazing. Couple hits each of the day. Stole a base on Wednesday. 16 for 17 in the year. Active leader in stolen bases in Major League Baseball. Let's go, Starling Marte. Love to see that. But yeah, I think the last bit of conversation here on the offensive side of the ball is going to be about JD Martinez and what exactly do we do? The lineup just feels better without him right now. The lineup has performed better without him right now. He's looks more lost than I've really ever remember a hitter of his caliber being in a very, very long time. Monday night, he had some of the worst at-bats I've ever seen. They gave him the night off on Wednesday. He's just
he seems very caught in between. But now with these games mattering so much, you kind of can't force it, right?
Yeah, I mean, like there's the two things in my head were like, okay, this is just a cold streak from a professional hitter, and also like, okay, just the at-bats do visually look bad. He's check swinging, he's chasing.
So much.
JD Martinez is 1 for his last 26. He's 9 for his last 56. He's 19 for his last 106.
Ooh.
He has a 590 OPS in his last 30 games. It's very bad. And there's just this Mets roster got crowded quickly. You have Starling Marte, you have Jesse Winker, Vientos, Luisangel Acuna now. Again, I said it before, but when Lindor is ready to play, if he's ready to play, there's a real argument for a lot of other guys to have these at-bats at DH over JD Martinez. And then you know what? Put JD Martinez on the bench. Lefty comes in out of the pen. You have a great pinch hitter ready to go. Like there's a lot of ways to help the team win if he's not hitting second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth at the beginning of the game. There are. And like when his opportunity comes, like he's such a professional, I trust that he will do something with it. But right now, he probably just needs a bit of a breather.
Yeah, definitely needs a bump. Definitely needs something. I don't know what it is, but he just does not look like the same hitter that he was even a month ago at this point.
No, he does not.
And of course, we have to talk about the pitching. We haven't even addressed the pitching. We're 30 minutes in. This is what we do. You're gonna let me and James ramble when the Mets are playing well. You're locked in for an hour. You got another 30 minutes with us here. Let's talk about the pitching, because the pitching,
so much pitching,
has been so damn good. So damn good. You had your Jeremy Hefner jersey on at the game on Tuesday. You did a little jersey swap picture in the stands, which looked absolutely insane. Credit to Jeremy Hefner, our king. We love him, of course, but we do have to talk about the guys actually out there performing every single time. The first one I want to talk about, Tylor Megill, texted us. He said, guys, are you awake? And I said, yes, Tylor, what's up? And he said, watch me throw this pitch. And he fucking diced up the Nationals. Looked really, really good. He was getting up to 97 at times. He was mixing pitches. Like there was not really any moments of. There was a moment earlier in the game, but then he kind of really settled in, especially after we scored those runs. Major shutdown inning, which he's not good at normally.
No, that shutdown inning was the moment where I was like, yes. And also the moment when we mentioned it before, when Vientos made the error in the third or fourth inning, and Tylor Megill did give up the one run, but didn't stumble out of control, didn't throw any bad pitches, didn't lose himself, didn't lose the mechanics, didn't lose the zone, and he just kept right on it. I'm happy. I'm proud. I'm relieved. The command was still iffy overall. He threw 56 strikes and 38 balls, and that ratio was much worse for the first 4 innings compared to the last 2. And then, but you know what? Once we took the lead, he was strong. He was consistent. He didn't let the Nationals beat him. He didn't let himself beat himself, which is mad. But he was just, I'm going to throw fastballs against a bad Nationals lineup. I'm going to challenge them, and they're not going to beat me. That fastball got up to 98 miles an hour. It fell down to 94 by the end of his outing, but that was fine. The fastball generated the 4-seamer, 8 of his 11 whiffs. It was really good against the lefties. He put a lot of lefties away on it, especially James Wood twice. Those at-bats against James Wood, he looked dominant. I know James Wood's a rookie. He's 21 years old, but he is the guy to worry about in this Nationals lineup, and Tylor Megill handled him well. The rest of the arsenal really didn't show up, but the fact that he just kept showing more pitches, which is what we said about Tylor Megill for years, is everything that keeps hitters just thinking enough about everything else. And that 97-mile-per-hour fastball, that split second, it whizzes by you, and that's how you get these guys out. The 2-seamer was active. The command on it was still not good. I really don't love the game plan on it. I think he's trying to throw a little too many of them running away to the lefties. I do not like that. That's a very scary pitch. You're begging to leave one over the plate, but it didn't happen this one. He was so close with the sliders, so he just missed the bottom of the zone with so many of them. They never bit on it, but then it was still good enough to show the split, lots of colors and curves, stole strikes early in counts. He's been so fucking important to this team over the last few weeks. I can't even believe how important he's been.
Yeah, I mean, Tylor is a guy who, ourselves included, we've written off at times, but in Tylor's last 4 starts, basically since he came back into this rotation, since he's been a part of this team again at the end of August, the Mets have won every single game he has pitched in.
That's insane.
That's a crazy stat. And I know we're not a wins-loss podcast. We're not a win-loss podcast. But for Tylor Megill, I will be.
And again, he has not exactly faced murderer's row. It's been the White Sox, the Red Sox, the Blue Jays, and the Nationals. But you play who's on the schedule. I don't care. Yeah, across the dome. I haven't missed a game in like 2 months here. We're not missing anything. But Gary and Keith talked about it too, because everyone makes so much about strength of schedule. We talked about it last night. These are still people that are paid to play baseball professionally. They have bats and they have gloves. They're out there to play. The Nationals, The Reds objectively stink. They win what, 44% of their games?
Yeah.
Like that's not this. You still have to go out and beat these teams. Like the one reason right now the Mets are even ahead of the Braves in the standings is their difference against these bad lower division teams. That's why we're ahead of them right now.
For those of you out there that may be gamblers, for context, like the house edge on blackjack is 55% to the house, 45% to the player. So you're the Washington Nationals every time you play blackjack. And you still run it out there every single time because you think you can win. These are what these teams do.
But that, again, you still have to go out there and beat these teams. The Braves have lost 5 games this year to the Reds. The Braves lost a game or 2 this year to the White Sox.
Oh, they got owned by the Nationals this year. We went 11-12 against the Nationals. I think the Braves have a below 500 record against the Nationals this year, which is crazy.
There was a tweet that put it together. I'm trying to find it right now. I can't scroll to it. But the Braves against those same bad teams that the Mets are railroading weren't able to beat them. And I think that's relevant. Like people, oh God, yeah, bad team merchant. Doesn't matter. You have to beat these fucking teams. And then we're gonna now it's over. The Mets are not playing a game against team under 500 the rest of the season. It's over. 10 games against playoff teams the rest of the way. Not 2 playoff teams and 1 team we're gonna keep out of the playoffs. But it's relevant. And again, Tylor Megill being to come back up in this rotation when the world was against him, when we lost Paul Blackburn, who we traded for literally just so Tylor Megill wouldn't start. For him to come back up and do this and change his approach a little bit and just go out there, give length, be effective. So important. This is why you need depth of a roster. We're seeing Luisangel Acuna, Jose Iglesias, Tylor Megill. These are guys that weren't expected to contribute early in the season. But the season is long. Your roster is an organism. It grows, it shrinks, it evolves. This is why you need so many pitchers. You never have enough pitching. And this is why you do it.
Yep. Shout out Jose Quintana. Diced him up again. I mean, it's never pretty. It's never sexy.
It's the best.
You're never blown away. But man, when that guy's getting 2 or 3 inches off the outside corner, nobody can touch him.
Dude, Jose Quintana tonight, Nationals put 18 balls in play. You know how many were on the ground?
14.
Exactly, 14.
Nice.
That was disgusting. And the Mets infield defense was awesome. Jose Iglesias, some of the best hands in the league still.
Pretty.
Luisangel Acuna, amazing out there. Jose Quintana also, since he had that 7-run blow-up against the Orioles on August 25th, I think it was August 20th, 19th, whatever it was, 4.57 ERA. After the start against the Nationals on Wednesday, 3.7.4 ERA, 23 2/3 consecutive scoreless innings. He's only allowed 1 earned run since August 25th. That 1 earned run was scored by the Chicago White Sox.
Nice.
He has not allowed an earned run to anybody besides the White Sox since August 25th. It's incredible. Like, this guy's gone out. He's done so well. And you see how so happy the rotation was when he came back to dugout after that 7th inning. They were dancing and screaming and their arms around each other.
Jose Quintana might have the whitest teeth I've ever seen.
Yeah,
his teeth are so white. I want to know his regimen. What does he do? What's his morning routine? Because wow, those were pearly white.
Bottom line, he's a pro's pro, and he's steadied this rotation. And you know what? I've talked a lot of shit about Jose Quintana. We are not here right now without Jose Quintana.
Nope.
Another guy we're not here without, Sean fucking Manaea. Sean Manaea.
Give him all the money.
He's the ace of this staff. I don't know about that. He's the ace of this staff. He's become one of the true workhorses in Major League Baseball. He has the longest streak right now of any pitcher in baseball, going back 2022, of consecutive starts with at least 6 2/3 innings pitched. 7 in a row. 7 in a row. I said it was a 5 and dive. Since then, he said, fuck you, James. I'm never throwing 5 innings again. He has the 20th most innings pitched in baseball this season, and the most by 11 full innings since the 1st of July.
It's impressive, especially because he was 5 and dive for the first 2 months of the season.
He deserves Cy Young votes. Like, he's put himself he's put himself into that category with how he's played. Tacoma had a great tweet where he's basically like, in the National League, Sean Manaea's top 10 in every meaningful category, besides strikeouts and walks, which he conveniently left out. But the other ones, everything else, he is top 10 literally. And this was it's weird because the Mets scored 10 runs on back-to-back days. But Monday, the offense was dead. If Sean Manaea gives up 3 runs in that game, we're not talking about the series the same way. We're not talking about this week the same way.
He gives up 2, we lose. We had to score second in extra innings.
Yeah. On nonsense, we scored that run too. But it's incredible. And all of this comes back to just thanking Jeremy Hefner. For some reason, people turned on him when everyone in the baseball world who works for these teams is so jealous of the Mets for having him. He's survived 3 regime changes. If the Mets got rid of him, he would have a job in 3 nanoseconds, in moments. Yeah. The second the tweet was out, he would have any job he wanted. He's so accomplished that if he didn't have his Mets job, he might do the Eric Cressy and just start his own pitching laboratory himself because he's so fucking good at this. Do you remember when there was that bit this season through 95 games, the Mets didn't have a shutout?
I do, because we were at the first game where they got shut out.
The day game. The Mets have now shut out their opponents 8 times in 51 games.
Disgusting.
Since August 1st, Mets starting pitchers have thrown the most innings in baseball. They have the third lowest earned run average.
I mean,
Imagine that shit. Can you imagine that shit?
I don't have to. I'm living in it. I'm seeing it happen.
And then everyone also talked a lot of shit about the bullpen. You know, it's still not great. But since August 1st, we have the 10th lowest bullpen ERA in baseball. We're in between the Phillies and the Dodgers.
That's top 1/3 of the league.
And again, that Philly bullpen ERA, that's skewed because of Taijuan Walker, who we're going to see on Thursday. So I'm getting ready for that one. But it's every single pitcher on this staff right now is getting more than we thought we could out of them. And some of it just comes back to natural oscillations and a pitcher's command that will always happen. But there's so much credit that has to be bestowed onto Jeremy Hefner. And holy fuck, do I love this guy. Does anyone else have their pitching coach's jersey in the whole Major League Baseball? And that's a 4-year-old jersey now. That's not a new jersey.
You were hip to the game.
The second they hired them, I text you in all caps. I can't fucking believe this is happening. They got Jeremy Hefner. You're like, what the fuck are you talking about? Now you say...
One of the first episodes we ever did, we just talked about how great Jeremy Hefner was. And that's what sparked you to buy the Jeremy Hefner jersey, was how great of a pitching coach we thought he was going to be. And he has been. He's been incredible. What he's done with this team has been great. Pitching's been money. Let's keep pushing it on through to this Phillies series. Before we get going into a media marvel and the Phillies, quick little Phillies preview, we do have some injury news to go over with the team. Of course, Lindor, we don't know whether or not he'll be back for the Phillies series or not. Obviously did not participate in any of the games. We'll wait and see there. Kodai Senga working his tail off, apparently. Plans to get to AAA this weekend. Could line him up to maybe pitch in Atlanta. Could line him up to maybe pitch against the Braves again. And that would be bliss. That would be amazing. Paul Blackburn also trying to get back by next week. He had spinal fluid leakage, which sounds way worse. Everyone's saying this. It sounds way worse than it is. Feels scary, though.
He said the injury felt like his back was compressing a Pepsi can.
I don't even know what that could feel like.
And he got 10 PRP injections.
Feels like a lot.
I've never heard anybody getting more than one of those. I'm not privy to all the medical stuff, but like this sounded extreme. The fact that he's doing everything he can to get back to throw like 3 innings against the Braves is fucking awesome.
I love that. I mean, absolute dog. And then we got to pour one out for our boy Christian Scott, our sweet prince, out for the season. Tommy John surgery, going to be out for next year as well. So we will see you in 2026, hopefully back healthy, ready to roll. Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see who David Stearns goes and to fill in the Christian Scott spot. Maybe just run it back.
I'm definitely excited to see. I'm not even close to off-season brain right now. One of our friends asked me about like free agent targets the other day at the game. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Was it Ernie?
It was Ernie.
Okay. Yeah. You can call him out.
I was just like, I'm worried about I'm worried about Philadelphia Phillies. I'm worried about the Atlanta Braves right now. It's the only thing I'm worried about.
It's like when I streamed on Twitch back in the day. People would be like, "Who do you think the Mets are going to sign this offseason?" I'm like, "Dude, we're in June. I want to think about this year. I'm not ready to think about the end of the season."
We are excited for offseason content. We're going to be bringing that to you, but it's not going to happen until a long way away.
All right, James. I'm gonna let you do this media marvel because the people have been wanting.
People have spoken.
They're foaming at the mouth as they were on Monday night or Monday afternoon. Every day they've been mad at me. Go for it. Get it started.
Yep. If you guys have been here this season, we have, I think my favorite segment that we do is called the Media Marvel. I brought it to Marc at the beginning of the season when I was like, you know, Marc, we have some freedom again. I want to talk shit about some people who say some bad stuff on the internet. And it's been great this year. We've talked shit about Michael Kay. We've talked shit about Ellie De La Cruz truthers. We've talked shit about the Lindorks. And now, Marc, the eye of the world is on you. You are today's Media Marvel because you said on Monday that the Mets organization, because they painted the seat purple, do not care about baseball. So I'm going to give you a little bit right here, a few minutes before we preview the Phillies series to just try and defend yourself for the people because they are mad at you.
First off, you minced my words. I said I wish this organization was focused on baseball.
There you
focused
go.
Is the word I used.
Okay, so Shakespeare.
What started this? Of course, they installed the commemorative purple seat at Citi Field for Grimace. And I'll start by saying this. Apologies to the purple blob that is Grimace. Apologies to the Mets fans. I let you down. I was a cranky old man. I was a fucking loser. I love the Grimace seat. I'm all in. 3-0. That being said, I'm just going to defend my take one time for the internet to hear because I don't get to explain this on Twitter. My whole reason for not liking the Grimace seat when it was announced was because to this point, and even still to this day, the Mets have done nothing this season. This is just a commemorative seat to remember that we had fun, we had good times, lots of laughs, good memories. Remember when Grimace happened. In a world where the Mets did not make the playoffs, right? They don't make it. This is a fucking joke. This is ridiculous. We are commemorating a season that was fun. And for a organization that, let's be honest, is one of the biggest laughingstocks in all of sports, I don't think we should be adding fuel to the fire by saying the Mets fucking retired a seat. They painted it purple for a figure that is from McDonald's. Don't think this isn't propaganda from McDonald's either. This is fucking McDonald's propaganda. It's better marketing for them than it is the Mets, and they want you to believe that it's for the team. It's not. It's for McDonald's. But at the same time, where I was going with this, teams hang banners. Teams celebrate championships, winning. That was my whole point. I hated the fact that we were celebrating fun rather than winning. I think the best way to promote this team and market this team, as I've said earlier in the podcast, is winning. The team has been winning. There are more people showing up. Nobody was fucking there Monday night to see this stupid fucking purple seat. That being said, I apologize to the Grimace gods. I apologize to Ronald McDonald, whatever you're doing up there. You're watching down on me. I'm terrified. Don't
apologize to the Hamburglar.
I apologize to the Hamburglar legend. I would never besmirch the Hamburglar's name. And I should never besmirch Grimace's name. I was a cranky old man. I knew I was going to be that.
Justin Turner to the game-tying home run on Clay Holmes.
Love to see that. Fantastic news. And that's what happens when I apologize. I apologize to Ronald McDonald, Grimace, and the Hamburglar, and good things happen. Let's fucking go, Mets. Let's fucking go, Grimace. Love the seat. I'm in.
Totally. And just to give a little bit of your defense, the Mets season felt a little differently on Monday afternoon.
So differently.
Our playoff odds have jumped like 30 percentage points since then. So again, the vibes are different. We're 2 games up on the Braves. We're tied with the Diamondbacks. We're 2.5 behind the Padres. So again, things are a little bit different. But and again, I think sometimes you don't think about the corporate business world so much, where you're like, how could they have decided to do this today? Where I'm like, okay, they probably decided to do this weeks ago, and they knew today was going to be the unveiling. It's Fan Appreciation Week. The fans love Grimace. The people love Grimace, of course. But
wait, can I jump in real quick too? You said
Sure.
Fan Appreciation Week. I thought it was also lame that the Fan Appreciation was painting a seat purple. What about tickets to make?
They're doing tons of stuff this weekend. They're doing a block party, I think, every single day.
Weekend. Yeah, what about the rest of the week? What happened Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday?
Weekends, as no one was there. So people working. I think that's another thing we talked about before. I think people in New York City are too focused on their jobs.
That's true.
Spoken from some guys that don't have real ones, however.
No.
However, I get to the ballpark, enjoy, have a beer, enjoy your night. We're dying to get our friend Alex to the ballpark, and he's too worried about finance. We're like, get out of here.
He's been sitting on his couch, and he sat down on his couch in the 10th inning of Monday night's game. So Marte proceeds to get a hit almost instantly. He can't leave that couch. I love you, Alex. You can't come back to the games yet.
True, but I wanted to call attention to your comment because I think
hand
that
up. The people, old man. This is what
people
it's for.
Hated it.
This is what it's for. I deserved the hate. I was right, but I deserved the hate, and I flip-flop back. Peer pressure always wins. Don't do drugs. Let's go Mets.
Yes, let's go Mets. Don't do drugs. Grimace is God. And now we're ready for the Phillies preview. We just played this team last weekend. Absolutely everything is on the line in these 4 games against the Phillies.
It's going to be feral tomorrow night.
Feral. No, I'm already foaming at the mouth. I'm counting down the moments till I can enter Citi Field because I'm ready to rip. I want to beat this team. I want to get one over on this team. I want to leave no shadow of a doubt to what's going to happen next week by beating this Phillies team 4 times in a row, 3 out of 4 times at minimum. I think that what?
No, go. My bad.
This Phillies team has been the only real thorn in our side for the last 3 weeks. We didn't get to play them in the last 3 months when they were struggling, and now they've gotten hot again. They beat us in 2 50-50 games on Saturday and Sunday last week after we beat the piss out of them on Friday night. Those are games that you might win if Francisco Lindor plays. You might not. Those are games that you might win with some different decisions with Carlos Mendoza. You might not. You were in all of those games. There was not one moment in that 3-game series, Citizens Bank Park, where you felt like you don't belong on the field with the Phillies.
And there was a moment where they felt like they didn't belong with us.
I'm in a fantasy baseball league with a Phillies fan. And I had never met him in person, just another competitive fantasy baseball player. I met him at the game on Saturday, and we were DMing on Discord after the game, just talking about the game, talking about the season. And he said, man, I really don't want to run into you guys again. I don't know if that's a sentiment from all Phillies fans, but I think the Phillies fans can look across the field and understand that this Mets team is not to be trifled with. This Mets team is a real baseball team that has real, true aspirations past the playoff berth. This is a team that has the best record in baseball since June 1st. This is a team that has a rotation that's grooving right now. This team that has a bullpen that could be a little bit better. There's a team that has a lineup right now that's feeling themselves. This is a manager that's pushing almost all of the right buttons. I want
And we have a purple seat.
And we have a purple seed, and we have the magic of friendship. I
That's true.
want to take this series to this fucking team. I do.
Yeah.
These next 4 days could define the Mets season. They can.
I want to come out of this series with a 4-game lead over the Atlanta Braves.
Yes.
I want a 4-game wild card lead over the Atlanta Braves going into Atlanta after this series. And I don't think that's crazy to ask for. I think all Mets fans should want blood from the Phillies. And it starts with Taijuan Walker on Thursday. Caveat, love Taijuan Walker as a person. This has nothing to do with him personally. Friend of the channel, friend of the podcast. But I hope we beat him so bad that the Phillies leave him stranded in New York City. He never goes back to the Philadelphia. I know he lives in New York City. He doesn't want to go back to Philadelphia. He has to. They're paying him. But I want to beat him so bad that the Phillies say, don't worry, you never pitch for us again.
Funny story, guys. First year we're doing Mets'd up. Marc and I were trying to be really funny and just be active on social media. I tagged who was listed as Taijuan Walker's wife on an Instagram post. And she commented, ha ha ha, this isn't me. He's a cheating bastard or something along those lines. So that was a hand up by me with a really funny origin story from Mets stuff. But pitching matchups, 7:15 on Thursday. Thursday night Fox game, getting ready for the postseason. Luis Severino versus Taijuan Walker. Like Marc said, we want blood. Friday night, Apple TV, national games, baby. I'll say this, ace off. David Peterson versus Christopher Sanchez.
Ace off.
Saturday, 4:00. I am so mad I can't go to this game because of my cousin's wedding. I want to be there so badly. I'm not selfish. I'm not even going to be thinking about the wonderful ceremony I'm going to be watching because all I want to do is be at Citi Field at 4:10 on Saturday. Sean Manaea versus Ranger Suarez. Lefty off. Back-to-back lefty offs. Wow. And then Sunday night baseball. Zach Wheeler versus Tylor Megill.
Ace off.
And the Mets actually haven't fully said that Tylor Megill is going to have that day. I don't know what they're waiting for. I don't know who could be pitching that day instead of Tylor Megill. No one, honestly. But that's going to be a game where I don't even know how I'm going to be feeling that game.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of emotions that could be felt. It's really going to depend on what happens in the first three, what happens with the Atlanta Braves, what happens with the Diamondbacks. Don't forget, boys are tied with the Diamondbacks too. So
also, this series is monumentally important because the Padres are idle on Thursday. There's their last off day of the season, last off day that we have that they don't have in the season. And then they have a 3-game series at home against the White Sox.
Yes.
So these 4 games against the Phillies are massively important if we want to jump to the Padres, try and get a home wild card series. The Diamondbacks, I'm going to get their schedule right now, but I think it's the Giants off the top of my head. No, it's the Brewers. 4 games against the Brewers. There it is. And the Brewers just clinched. Brewers are going to play a hungover game on Thursday, so that's a tough beat. But we can't
worry about that. We win our games.
We have to win. We have to win our games.
If the Mets don't lose the rest of the season, they are in the playoffs.
Yes, and we just played the Phillies, so there's not much to really look at for this team to be different. Yeah. Edmundo Sosa was activated. He hits lefties pretty well.
And he will definitely hit an umpire at some point this game.
Yeah, he's hit 2 umpires in the last couple of years somehow, some way. But watch out for him. But otherwise, just like we saw what this team is. The top of the lineup is amazing. The bottom of the lineup is annoying. The bullpen is really fucking good. The rotation is pretty fucking good. Don't let Bryce Harper beat you. Don't let Bryce Harper see Luis Severino 3 times, maybe. I don't know. We'll see how that game is going. But it's just this you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. They're the best team in the National League. If we want to go on forward, and no matter what, we're going to have to beat the Phillies at some point. Let's start right now.
Let's start it now. Don't forget, Thursday we'll be recording an episode from the 7-line train after the game, the Super Express to Manhattan.
The last car.
Come join us. If you don't see us on the back of the train and it's starting to leave and you want to be a part of it, you got to get off the train. We might not be the first train out, but we will guaranteed be the second train out if we're not the first.
Yeah, and again, you get there if you want to hang out and talk to us, and you'll be on camera. We're gonna have a great time on that train. You guys can spit any takes you want about the Mets. I don't know how we're gonna do it yet. It's definitely gonna depend how the game goes, how we're feeling, but we're gonna just give this a shot and see what happens. But I think we're closing the episode now, so of course we have to send you guys out with a word from everybody's favorite caller. We got a minute of Frankie Peppers here.
Beautiful carbonara as well by Frankie.
Frankie changed the whole season with that carbonara. The Mets went on a blistering rally after he made that carbonara. It looked amazing, old school style. So here he is, Frankie Peppers, 10:14, moments after the game ended again. Actually, no, probably like a half hour after the game ended.
I think he told us it's a doozy as well, too.
Yeah, he tweeted at us. And you guys are starting to get with Frankie Peppers on Twitter. I love that he's growing a little bit. But here's Frankie.
Frankie Peppers, how you doing? I'm doing great. I'm very happy right now, very pleased. I don't know what happened with Luisangel Acuna. Like, did he just like start drinking the New York tap water or something? I don't know. But he looks phenomenal. 2 home runs. Are you kidding? I saw him up in Syracuse. He looks smaller than my son. And yet you see him at Citi Field hitting bangers. It's amazing. And you know what else is amazing? Oh, James, beautiful suggestion for that carbonara. It was delicious. I can't wait to make that again eventually. And Marc, don't you worry. Your meatball palm is coming either tomorrow, on Thursday, or on Friday. I'm going to make the bread from scratch and everything. It's going to be great.
Whoa.
Also, I hope to see one of you boys, or maybe both of you, on Sunday. I'm going to be at the last home game of the season versus the Phillies. So, as always, appreciate you boys. Let's go, Mets. Let's do it.
I'll say one thing about Sunday.
We could go. Night game.
Sunday night baseball.
We could go. I'll be done working about 5.
We will be judging the vibes of the series for Sunday night baseball. I'll be honest, I don't want to listen to Sunday night baseball, so I might just do it just so I don't have to watch the game on the ESPN.
I'm kind of with you too. I didn't realize Frankie was such a gourmand, making his own bread.
Dude, what?
Best in the business.
If there's a woman in his life, luckiest woman on the world.
Yeah, that's it. And I think that's all we got for you guys here.
Yep. Good hour-long episode. We haven't done that in a minute. Hope you guys did enjoy it. As always, make sure you follow us on all our social media at Mets'd on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Subscribe to the Mets'd Podcast YouTube channel if you want to see the video version of this. And if you're listening to us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, Overcast, download, auto-download, subscribe, reviews, ratings, all that stuff. We really do appreciate it. Hopefully the ads sound better this episode. We are still learning. I can't believe we're still saying this. I promise one day we will get it right.
Perfect.
I hand up. I've had double hand up episode. Grimace, the ads episode last time stunk on my part. I missed him by 2 seconds. Don't know how. The markers got all screwed up. James is handling this one. You have any problems, you could always reach out to James. But what's your Twitter? They can reach out to you, James.
James_Shiano, baby.
I'm Draftneck Marc with the C. I'm Hollywood, so I won't answer. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching. And I'll see you after we beat those fucking Phillies. Let's go, Mets.
Let's fucking go, Mets. We'll see you guys in the 7 train Thursday night. Peace.